गार्ड को दे देना, गार्ड उसको दे देगा, अपने हाथ से डायरेक्ट मत देना चाहिए। 2000 रुपये दे देना।
Okay, I muted them. Okay, so good morning, everyone. And I am Dr. Sourabh Patwardhan, and with me, Dr. Deepak Megur. I think everyone knows Dr. Deepak Megur. He is an excellent surgeon, as well as his videos are mesmerizing. We'll be speaking about some pearls about video editing, as well as the hardware software that we use. I think we are not professional video editors, definitely, but we have learned few things on our own. So we'd like to share those things with you. Okay, so how to add wow in your videos? So that's the topic that I will be speaking about. First of all, I must acknowledge my father, who has been doing surgical recording since 1990 and also streaming these surgeries in waiting room. And he has inspired me a lot. And my alma mater, Dr. RP Center of Ophthalmic Sciences, we had the opportunity to see all the videos and also live surgeries there. So it has helped me. And also my very good friend and motivator and guide, Dr. Lukan Mishev from Bulgaria. He is really an encyclopedia as far as all these technical and terms are concerned. I hope in the next meeting we can invite him for guiding us. So let's see what is important when you want to edit a video. I think three things which are really important are, first is concept. So what do you really want to convey? So even if you have a very good quality video, but if it is a routine cataract surgery, it doesn't really convey anything to the observer. So you should know what exactly you have to highlight in that particular video. Second thing is what is the content? That means even if you want to convey something to the audience, you have to know what content you need. So it can be in the form of images, it can be in the form of videos or some raw data. And the third thing is then comes the editing and adding the special effects. So all these three C's are required to create a wow effect in your video. So what is concept? Concept is basically what do you want to really convey. Then you have to think about, do you have the necessary content for conveying that particular concept? And if not, then first thing is you have to try to get that content. And then comes that how will you arrange this content in the form of scripts. So whenever you start editing your video, it should come in the form of a script. That first thing I want to show. For example, you want to talk about a particular step, how it was helpful or how it was difficult or how I tackled it. So you have to maybe start off with how this was done differently before and how I did it and how it changed the outcome, something like that. So that script has to be there. And content is images and videos. So let's see about images. Images can be from anywhere. It can be from slit lamp. It can be from surgical microscopes. It can be just a gross photograph also. We can use so many concepts. And it can be external photograph, not necessarily surgical microscope. Like Dr. Deepak has shown the depth of the anterior chamber by using an external camera. And it can be a storyline photograph also, maybe a cartoon, a caricature, or maybe a dialogue, something like that. You can use from movies, different, successful movies. Or it can also be investigation, or it can be a slide. Same goes with the videos. You can take excellent quality videos using the slit lamp, DSLR or other attachments. Surgical microscope, which gives the most data to us. Gross videos, also external videos, and a storyline video. You may build up a story outside, and that can be used for your videos. Now I'll be talking about, this is a very simple thing which I really like, that how to use the PowerPoint, because many times I used to see a lot of good animations and also different effects, and I didn't know how to do it using a video editing software because it was little bit difficult for me. Maybe a professional can do it, but for amateurs it is sometimes difficult. So then I realized that we can use the PowerPoint itself for creating animations and creating a lot of different images that we want. So for example, in this slide, you can see that in the PowerPoint, I have on one slide, I have pasted one image which I have taken as a snapshot from my surgical microscope camera. And now I can add over that a lot of other things which we easily do in PowerPoint. We can add you can insert different shapes like this dotted line. You can add text also like this. You can add text in different formats, and you can also design various things. Also, you can crop and zoom these images. Now, same goes with the animations. So with animations, if you go to animations, there are so many effect options which are available with the animation. You can decide how the particular object starts appearing, how it exists. You can also show some motion paths. And all these things require some amount of trial and error, definitely. So you need to look into it. You have to sit over it. Also, once you know what concept you want to convey, it becomes quite easy later on. You can put those animation in particular order. So you know after this, the second animation is going to come. And you can also animate different objects after certain intervals. So all these options come into picture. So you can see here that here I wanted to show something like cystitome, which is going in through the corneal incision. And I wanted to show the visco escaping out. So I can animate the arrows and other things to show you. So let me check if I can show you one of the animations. Okay. So now, once you have done these animations in PowerPoint, how can you use it in your video? Because you can show it during presentation, but how to convert it into a video? Of course, earlier you can use, I used to use the screen capture option, but now with the latest PowerPoint, we have an option to export it into a full HD, even into a 4K video. So once you convert that, you can convert that directly. That is as giving a definite time period for each slide, or you can actually do the presentation or do the slideshow as you want, and then you can convert it into video. So it comes in the same timeline that you want, basically. Okay. Apart from this, we can also use this as for saving the picture. So you can put a lot of diagrams in the PowerPoint, and then you can group them together, like you can see here, group, and then you can save it as a picture. So that picture also you can directly use in your video editing software. So I want to show here a simple animation which I have created. You can see the vitrectomy probe going in, cutting the vitreous which was prolapsed, and then IOL was placed. So these are very simple things. This is the visco cannula. So the surgeon is injecting visco cannula, which is pushing the vitreous back and then putting the IOL. And now this is the vitreous which is prolapsing out of the from the posterior capsular rupture, and then it is decentering the IOL. You can also put some spin animation where I want to show that the IOL has to place 90 degrees to the area of posterior capsular rupture. So these are different simple animations, and then you convert it into video. Now I'll speak about Filmora software. Of course, there are a lot of video editing softwares which are available. Some of them might be also free of charge, but this is the one which I am using, and I found it very easy to use. And most of the platforms, you will find that the arrangements are almost similar, maybe little bit of difference here and there. And this particular software, I found that it's not that costly. It just costs around $60 for lifetime. So you don't have to pay any monthly subscription or anything. And it gives fairly good results with high definition video editing. So this is how the screen of the Filmora looks like. And what you see here, this is typical of all video editing softwares. The arrangements might be slightly different. So what you see here is the media. So you add your media, all your videos you add in this by importing either videos or photographs which you want to add. And these are the titles. So you can place the titles over these videos. Once you import those videos, you can either use this option. So you bring that video to this, and then you can see these two comma marks, which you can use. You can use that particular, you can take that particular clip from that video and add it directly to the timeline. So this is the timeline. You can add multiple videos one over the another, and also you can add music and titles. So once you start adding videos, it goes into different layers which you have to edit. And now I will not be able to tell all the details how to use Filmora for particular editing, but I think YouTube is a great source for learning. So now you know, do it yourself. DIY is very commonly used term, and if you want particular function of the Filmora to be used, you can just type it in YouTube, and there are a lot of videos which are available on YouTube to guide you and how to do that particular step. It's not necessary that you use only the photographs and videos which you are collecting. You can go to internet. There are a lot of good images which are available, and with your creativity, you can use those images also in your videos to make it more creative. So I will just show you a brief video of few of the tricks that which I have used. Okay, there is a question from Dr. Garodia sir. Filmora is more user-friendly than iMovie. Filmora I found is quite user-friendly, but of course I think Dr. Deepak has used Mac option also. So I think he will talk about that. In the meanwhile, I will just let me know if that this video is can be seen by you, Dr. Deepak. Deepak?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Hear and see the video.
Video is not there.
Not
I'm
there.
just
Okay.
I'm just seeing the screen.
I will I think again share. So yeah, now I think it is visible.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, so let me start the video. So in between I will show what are the different tricks which I have used. Okay, this particular title, I have not created this title. I have taken help of a professional to create this title for our hospital. But I'm sure that there are some softwares which give you this help. But of course, you can get it done using a professional. Now, just see this video where I want to show a particular step. So what I can do here, what I have done is that I have taken a snapshot from the video. If you are using VLC, you can take a snapshot. Or if you are using Filmora, in the Filmora itself, there is the option of taking this snapshot. And then you can put it in between the video where you can also enlarge it, you can crop it, and you can show that this is the moment where I want to show you few things. So you can, once you pause it, you can take more time to elaborate on that particular snap. All the editing softwares, including Filmora, give a lot of option about the your titles. So you can choose the appropriate title which you like to use. So for example, in this black cat track, I wanted something brown just to match. And you can use your artistic liberty to use that. Now in this particular video, what you can see is that the original video was not that good, which was recorded using a handycam. And you can see there are some whiteouts and some black. Of course, it was a black cataract. So black cataracts are little difficult to record. Then you can use Filmora to do the color correction. And if you want to see a particular area, for example, here what I want to see is the cataract being removed or the nucleus area which is being removed. So I can increase the exposure and I can use it. So the original video you can see was little dark, so I could increase the brightness of the video. And particularly if you see this step, many times even with the best video cameras, you may have to adjust few settings in between the surgery. If there is no glow, you have to change few settings, which you can also do with editing. But of course, the best thing is to use your camera settings properly. So you need as less editing as possible. Now these are some kind of titles. So if you don't want that those style like PowerPoint like titles, what you can do is use a live video footage on the background and put the titles over it. So it looks more fresh and maybe more appealing to the viewers. So all these tricks with titles, there are lower third titles also for using it for describing particular steps like this. Here I want to put my name on the lower part just to highlight that I have made this video. And this is this is basically a PowerPoint presentation, which now I have converted into a video. So we can use the same PowerPoint slides as background for making it into video. So this is just to show you few of the animations which I showed, which I have created. So different arrows, different movements that I have created in PowerPoint, and then I have exported into video. Now, even in video, many times in our scientific videos, we want to compare one with the another. For example, one step being done, I want it to be compared with another step which is being done. So those things can be used using this split screen option here. So you can keep on exploring different options which are there in your video editing software. You can see here, there are a lot of split screen options where you can compare two steps, you can compare two instruments, you can compare different things in the same screen. So you avoid wasting time. And also it is easier for the audience to see when it is in comparison. You can also use these time scales which are there. You can see that there is a time scale on this. Now, these are excellent. This is very good use of the PowerPoint, which is converted to video. In PowerPoint, you can actually freeze the images and use that for adding a lot of titles. Of course, you can use it on directly on video editing software also. But you can see here, this is a laser pointer. So when you record your slideshow, you can also use the laser pointer option and record it. So once you convert it into video, you can, when you give a audio, dubbing, or you can also dub it while using the slideshow option. It is as if you are talking with the audience. So it's very easy for an audience to understand. It is as good as doing a live lecture in front of the audience, which helps a lot, particularly students. And when you want to convey a particular concept, I think when you use these laser pointers in the video, they are also quite useful. Now, this is something about the cropping. So many times when we take the video, we take it on very low zoom, and but we want to focus on only a particular area. Of course, it is best if you can actually, while operating, if you can, focus and zoom on a particular area, and then, get that image, because it gives the best quality. But many times when we are operating, we are not actually looking at the video recording. So, and we are not comfortable at operating for that particular zoom. So maybe you may have these kind of lower zoom videos. But then in video editing software, you can crop those videos. For example, here I want to show the railroading technique and how exactly I want to show it. So I can use this cropping option. So I'm going to use only the smaller area of my video like this to show the railroading technique, to put the key segment. And then I can also go back to lower zoom to show the hand movements. So here what I wanted to show was like the SICS tunnel, how it is being made. So what I have done here, that I have paused the video at the point where I want to show it exactly. And then I use the snapshot tool of Filmora. So this snapshot came here in the media part. And then I have I can use this snapshot in a PowerPoint, like here I must have done. And then like here I have imported that snapshot to my PowerPoint. I have added a few things over the this image and then saved it as a picture. And now that image or that picture which I have saved, I can put it in between. For example, here I have snapped the video there in between, and then I imported that image which I have created in the PowerPoint, and placed it in between, so that I want to convey the exact, the structure of the SICS tunnel here. So it can be done like this. And it is very important to record all your videos, I think, continuously. Even Dr. Deepak few days back showed a beautiful video of posterior polar cataracts. So see, just this, the PC range just comes out of nowhere. So I would have definitely missed this. It was an uneventful case otherwise. So when we keep recording each and every step, I think we don't miss these moments. Another thing is that you can also have the replay and option, and also we have option of slow motion. So we can use it according to how we want to really, what you want to really convey. For example, in this particular thing, I wanted to show the entire surgery, but in fast forward manner. And then, slow motion. In slow motion, I wanted to show the exact step where it led to a posterior capsular rupture. So this can be done using the slow motion. Like here, I have reduced the speed. Now here it is important, if you have video recording of high number of frames per second, then it will help you. Even if we slow down the video, it will be much more clearer. So that's the use of recording at very high speed. But of course, it will also take up a large, the amount of hard disk space. So these are the different things. And last but not the least, the audio. I think most of the laptops that we have can record the audio very easily. And in Filmora and also other editors, you have this option of mic, and you can just start where you want to start recording on that particular video. And once you start the audio, this recording, you can keep speaking as you see the video over this in this area. And it's a live recording, so you can explain different things. You can also emphasize on different things when you are recording, and that recording will be placed here on the lower one of the lines. And then once you export this video, that recording will be already there. So that is very easy. You can edit the video in just maybe half an hour or 1 hour. If you know the script, you know the concept, what you want to do. And knowing this video editing is not useful just only for the surgical video editing, but I think it has the use also for making some of the promotional videos. So just these are some of the videos when I started using Filmora. I think I used some of these tricks for making some promotional videos also. So I have made a PowerPoint and then I have converted it into a video. It's very easy. You can add some videos, you can add some photographs also, and you can take these videos and put them up in your waiting hall for your promotions. So I think that's all from my side in this thing. And Dr. Deepak? Dr. Deepak?
Yeah, I am here. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there might be some questions. So I think we'll take it at the end after your presentation is over, because I think many things might be answered in your presentation.
There are some things which are related to this Microsoft PowerPoint and Keynote. I
Okay.
think we'll finish off those things here only.
Okay. Sure.
So there was one question like, how do we export? How do you export your PowerPoint to a movie? I think there is an option available in your PowerPoint, option called export. Export
Yes.
into a photograph, export into a movie, and you need to export. I think one care needs to be taken that, when you export, you'll have options. Try to choose the option of the highest resolution, because sometimes the resolution goes down if you are just keep it by default. So that's the reason I would recommend try to look into it options which you have and try to export in the highest possible resolution.
Yes.
The same
And
animation and exporting, converting to a movie, slideshow converting into a movie option is also available with Keynote users who are using Mac. So it's also equally good. And again, in Keynote also you have an option of the movie which you want to export. What is the resolution? Whether it is in MP4 format, whether it is in ProRes format, you have got multiple options to try to choose the highest resolution so that that doesn't get affected when you actually import it into your movie. Because all the animations which are done, they shouldn't be jerky, and the low resolution will affect the quality of the film which you're having. So this
yeah.
option is available both in Microsoft PowerPoint as well as in Keynote. Another one important thing I would like to highlight is, converting the slides into a movie and using is extremely helpful when you're presenting free papers. Because, when in most of our conferences, the single most irritating aspect is where any presenter anywhere in the world I've seen, this is not at all resolved.
Yeah.
You start Microsoft PowerPoint, and
Yeah.
the moment the slide comes with a movie, it doesn't play. And we lose a lot of time in almost all the international conference also. It's a perennial problem. It's never going to go off. But this if it happens in your free paper presentation where your timing is very critical, you really lose a lot of marks out of it. So one trick which I have found out here is that, all my free paper presentations are already converted into a movie. So you time it. I time it to 5 minutes 56 seconds, so that it is over by 5 minutes 56 seconds. 6 minutes is usually the time. So you don't have an option of exceeding the time limit. You have to rehearse yourself to ensure that you speak in that allotted whatever time is there. So you can incorporate these slides, animation along with the movie. All these export into your editing software, convert it into a movie, and export it, setting the time limit at 5.56, rehearse yourself, and then go and present the movie. I think the biggest advantage of using your Keynote or the Microsoft PowerPoint to convert into a movie is for your free paper presentation, because you are not excused for not finishing in time. You go there, most of the times what happens, you go there, start on the podium, and the slide comes with the movie, it doesn't play. Then you start hearing it's not playing, it was playing there. These common things keep on happening. So one way to escape this misery would be that, try to practice and use this technique for your free paper presentation. When you're using it in a talk or presentation, nobody finds you for overshooting your time. But in free paper, it is going to be a lot of matter. So I have been using this technique for the last maybe 6-7 years, and it has served me well. So that is one tip I want to share. And always try to export your slides into the highest possible resolution. Whether you're using a Windows or a Mac, there are options available. Just go there and try to do that. That will help you out.
In fact, since my laptop was stolen few years back, I only carry videos on the pen drive because it's a headache to carry your laptops also everywhere. But movie can be put on any small pen drive or something, and can be played on any software, as you said, even Apple, or even if it is Mac or Windows. Many times I find in conferences the Mac owners struggle a lot because many times the systems are Windows. So I think that. And one more thing about the PowerPoint is get the latest PowerPoint version, because if you go to previous versions, as Dr. Deepak rightly said, the resolution may not be good. Also, in the older PowerPoint, this option is also not there. So, if you don't find option in the PowerPoint you are using, just talk with your software guy and get it upgraded. I think with the latest PowerPoint, even we have 4K conversion, which is available to us.
Okay, few more
Anything
questions.
else?
Yeah,
You
few
would
more
like
questions regarding this only. Like, Dr. Vinay is asking how to store your original videos. Adding it onto the computer fills up the hard disk very fast. So how to use it while keeping the original video on a portable hard disk?
I think it is best to store it in a hard disk, but whenever you want to edit, what I do is that whatever videos I want to edit, I take it on the laptop, okay, and then I use it. And once the editing part is over, I just delete it. So the backup stays on the hard disk because when you connect it to a hard disk and then try to edit, of course it will be done, it can be done, but it just takes more time because now the videos have to be transported through the cord to the laptop. If you have it on your hard drive and if you are using a SSD hard drive, it's really very quick.
Dr. Vinay, I would like to just add, he also asked how to use it while keeping the original video on a portable hard disk. See, this also is possible. There is an option in iMovie or Final Cut Pro. When you create a library, there's an option of choosing the library where you want to store this entire event, what you call. So you can choose the option of choosing the entire event in the external hard drive itself. So it's not compulsory for you to copy into your desktop and then edit. You can also edit using your the original footage being on a portable hard disk. This option is also available. You need to choose the option of the library, placing the library on the designated external hard drive. It is possible. So it is just, you just click on the library storage location, you go there, and then you can store the location of this in the external hard drive. It can be done. The next question would be, whenever you crop, the resolution goes down. Is it so? Yeah, it does go down. The reason is simple, because if your resolution of the original video is not good enough or not high enough, whenever you crop, you are going to lose some amount of pixels here, and that's the reason the footage will become much more grainy and it doesn't look so good. So that is the reason when you're recording your original footage, try to record in the maximum resolution which you can afford. So that's the reason why it pays to have backup. Whenever you have a little, you want to zoom in. When you zoom in, also you still don't the footage doesn't look bad. How to reduce video size without losing pixels? Dr. Sourabh, any tips you want to give? How to reduce video size without losing pixels?
It's I think the MP4 format which we currently use gives the least size without losing resolution. What do you think, Dr. Deepak? Of course,
I think so. You have to do a trial and error, because both Windows and Mac have different. Mac always stores in .mov. It also has an MP4, but I prefer to store in the H.264. That is the container H.264 in MOV format. For me, I feel this gives me the best resolution. It may occupy a little bit more space, but I feel it is worth it. But it's all about trial and error. You have to, in your system, you need to export using different available resolutions in your system and then see what is good for you. I think for me, I won't want to sacrifice on the resolution and compromise on the size of the clarity of it.
I think the general rule always follows that kuch paane ke liye kuch khona padta hai. So if you want really great resolution, you should accept maybe larger video size. That has to be there. And another good question from Vineet. He wants to ask like how to record that I am also seen explaining the video as an inset. So I think there are two options. You can record yourself talking using a different camera. If you are going to do it in the video editing, of course Zoom is giving that option live. But if you can use an external camera to record you talking, and at the same time you can do the audio dubbing of your video, so that you can match it. So you can use that video later and put it in your video editor and then match the timing. I think that can also be done. Of course, you can use the live streaming softwares. I will talk about it later, but maybe Deepak has some other ideas also. I use the vMix video live streaming software. So where you can use more than one input simultaneously, and then also you can record it. It's not necessary that you can use it only for live streaming. You can also use it to record the videos also. So you can use two video cameras, or one can be your laptop, which is streaming the presentation, another external camera, which is attached to the same computer. And then you can start recording with your audio, and so they will sync themselves because you are recording it in live. So that one option can be there. Any other option, Deepak, that you can think of?
No, I am not sure so much sure about the live streaming part of it. One more question by Dr. Ramesh Murthy is how to save the video in the PowerPoint. Fine, so it will play seamlessly. So because you use PowerPoint more often.
Yeah, I think it's best to use the insert part. Go to insert. You can see the screen that I'm using.
No,
is my screen shared?
No, it is not showing anything.
Okay, I will just share it again. Okay, now it's visible, I think. It's visible, screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I have gone to insert, and then in media, this is a video option, and then video on my PC. So that should be added. Don't copy and paste. So if you use this particular track, usually that video gets embedded in the PowerPoint itself. So your PowerPoint size will increase. Okay. So PowerPoint size maybe become 1 GB or 1.5 GB because of the video. But then these videos play very seamlessly.
I think the usually they don't play because the track is lost. So you need to stick to that track when you insert where the original file is there. You have to, if the original file is again shifted from its location, it won't play. I think it has to be that location has to be locked, and that is the reason why you have most of the problem.
No, this is the advantage. The way I am showing it, you can go to the insert part. I will just show you how to do it. And I'm video from my PC I will be adding. Suppose I want to add this video. So it will take time to insert because it is actually shifting that, copying that media into the PowerPoint. So what you will find is that after this, the size of the PowerPoint has increased. That means now it is not linked to another video, but it's already embedded in that PowerPoint. So the computer doesn't, or when you start PowerPoint, it doesn't have to search for that video. Like here, this is a very big file. So it is taking time to, embed it. If you just copy paste or link it, it will not take that much of time because it's just linking the two things. Ramesh, am I clear? See now, this video is now embedded here only. Okay, so now even if I delete or even if I don't have that folder with me, even if I have just PowerPoint presentation, it will run.
Okay, I think we'll go to the next question. Again, yes. It is by Dr. Vinay. I use a DSLR for recording. I'd like to record on 4K and HD both. Keep the 4K only of relevant videos and HD of all the videos. This would stay my storage space, and but the DSLR has this option of dual recording. But once I use this option, the streaming up to the TV through cable does not work. See, I think this is a problem there, and a dual streaming, a dual recording is you can use it, but my best suggestion would be always try to record externally. Try to record externally using some either Atomos Ninja or your Blackmagic, and record in HD in that external recording, and always store internally in 4K recording. So you can choose which case you would want to record 4K internally. Rest all the cases you can record externally using the external recorder. So that would be a safe option. Reason is if something goes wrong, your card gets corrupted, you still have a backup recording available. That is my philosophy of why I record in both the same, because sometimes the card can just stop functioning well. And that is the reason why I always try to record in two different systems, one inside the card and there outside. Record 4K internally, and you don't want to delete it off later on. but you always have an external recorder working. Because if you record both internally, the streaming doesn't happen. That is a problem with the camera, the system that itself, and there is no, I have not found any solution for that.
So I think that's what I also do. I think Dr. Deepak, we can start your presentation. So many of the things might be answered also. Okay, I will stop my sharing so you can begin.
So I'll be talking about choosing the right software and the hardware for editing surgical videos. And this basically, see, I'm not an expert, or I don't have any qualification, but just I have got this passion to learn about this, and I spent lots of hours. And maybe many of you are much more knowledgeable than me, but I just want to share my experience, how I have been doing for the last maybe many years now. So the most common question which has been asked to me, of course, apart from which camera I have used, has always been what software do you use for editing? This is the most common thing which is asked. Because I understand the most common misconception is that, the film looks good only because of two important things. One is the camera and second is the software. So these are I think is a major misconception. I think you can get a decent amount of image with most cameras, provided you are careful on how you shoot it. So let us begin with which software. And the answer is, it may be a cliched one. It's a very cliched answer. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the Filmora might work well for you. Windows Movie Maker or iMovie also can make well for you. Because we have a habit of wasting too much time on deciding upon the tools, or I should call it toys. Grown-up men also have an obsession for toys. We need a lot of money as well as time searching for new equipment, new gear, and all those things. It's a cliched answer, but it's a fact. It's a truth that, whatever computer you use, whatever system you use, doesn't matter. As Sourabh had already clarified, what are the objectives of video editing. So we want to cut the video depending upon the requirement, because most of the presentations which we have, we can't present for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So you want to cut the videos into short clips, join them, and then present them. So you will have to maybe take out a 1-minute clip from a 20-minute movie and then add to other frames. So all these things you have to be skillful in doing video editing. And of course, apart from cutting, you have a raw footage, you cut it, and then you need to make it look good. It is not always possible, but sometimes it is possible to make your video look good even in the post-production. That's like, adjust brightness, contrast, and color. You add effects, titles, and highlights. And lastly, the audio part of it. So you have to give voiceover, and you can select an appropriate background score for it. And the irony is, most of the video editing softwares do it, including your basic iMovie also does this, your any other basic software also does it. But I think the refinement is different in each of these things. So you can do most of these things in even the free software which is available. So that shouldn't be an issue. Having said that, why we are discussing this is, we want to save a lot of time, because we don't want to get stuck because of so slow computer or the slow software. We want to save time. So time is extremely valuable for all of us. So that's the reason we want to get the job done fast and quickly, as early as possible. So when you want to choose a software or hardware first, I would like to always go in the reverse orders. Try to first decide on the software which you would want to use, because that's going to decide upon the hardware which you're going to use it. So this software is going to decide the hardware. I'll just explain you how. So I was not aware of Filmora for a long period of time. By the time I started my video editing journey, about say maybe 8 years back or 10 years back, these were the options. These are still the professional grade options. These are the 3 professional grade options. These are used by all the Hollywood filmmakers. So we have a Final Cut Pro from the Apple, and Blackmagic Design makes the DaVinci Resolve, and Adobe Premiere Pro. These are the professional grade video software which are available. The reason why they're called professional is usually we don't have the stability issues, crashing, and they're efficient, and you can do everything in these things. So I don't have any experience in other softwares. I was always been thinking about these 3 only. I've learned about these 3. And let me share my experience and what are the options which we have here. I think Filmora seems to be a very good option. Another option would be a Movavi, but I don't have any experience. But these three are considered to be professional grade, and they're more or less likely to crash and other things. So the problem is, Final Cut Pro is available only with the Mac computers. It's not available with the Windows. On the contrary, you have the DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro. Both are available with the Windows and Mac option. So when we decide whether you want to go with the Windows or with the Apple, then your choice of software will become different here. So let's look into the costing options. How much do they cost us? So the Final Cut Pro, even iMovies is free. Actually, iMovies is built-in software in the Mac computers, and it does a reasonably good job. The only difference is it doesn't have much of a color correction options, and the titles options are also a little bit limited. Other than that, for basic work, it does well. But if you want to upgrade, I think Final Cut Pro is an excellent option. It's a one-time single payment of $300, and it's a lifetime payment. Then coming to the Resolve 16, it again comes in two variants. One is totally free, and the free version also does most of the jobs, including your color correction, editing. It doesn't give any watermark also, as is seen with the Filmora option. Filmora free version, I think, has a watermark, if I'm not wrong. Right, Sourabh?
I think so, yes.
So this doesn't have that option also, but it's free. The paid version, it's again a one-time payment of $300, approximately costs around 25,000. Additional thing would be like it is a little bit more faster to work with because it uses the GPU to encode your movies. And the second important aspect is you also have an option of inbuilt noise correction facility available in the Blackmagic design. And the Premiere Pro, unfortunately, is probably the most commonly used software by many professionals, especially in India and across, because majority of them are using Windows computers, and Premiere Pro happens to be the very commonly used. But one big issue with this is the payment problem. It doesn't come with the free option, and it has got this monthly payment option. So you have to have a monthly payment or an yearly payment option, and it turns out to be quite expensive over a period of time. And the reason why we need to decide between, even if you're a Windows user, if you want to decide between a Premiere Pro and a DaVinci Resolve, a decision is critical because both their computer specs are different, requirements are different. The Premiere Pro is more CPU intensive, whereas the DaVinci Resolve is more GPU intensive. So when you're planning to build your system, you have to plan accordingly. But from a logistical point of view, Premiere Pro really looks to be a more expensive option for us because there is no single payment option available here. So it's a monthly payment for life. So it's going to be extremely expensive. But a few of my friends are still using it, but I don't have personal experience. The reason was this. So what has been my experience? Well, I have been using a Final Cut Pro for the last 8 years now. And I've got these three computers, but my main laptop is always been the 15-inch MacBook Pro, which has got this i7 processor. It's a very old one, but still works very well. It had a smaller RAM. I upgraded to 16 GB RAM. Those Macs, we had an option of upgrading. And I again inserted a SSD built in. See, important thing is you always have to have SSD instead of an hard disk, the regular spinning hard disk. That makes a lot of difference as far as your performance go. So I think it's a key investment, whether you're using a Windows system or a thing, invest on a SSD. That really makes your life a little bit more easy. And at that time, I had purchased this for about 1.3 lakhs. It was in 2012. And it is almost 8 years, but it's still serving me good enough. But I recently shifted to a PC, or at least shifted. I can't say totally shifted, partly shifted to PC because this is my new PC which I've built here. I've installed Resolve 16. And the reason, these are the configurations. I'm going to tell you the configuration again about what system I'm using now and why did I choose this. Again, important, I want to clarify, when you want to purchase an Apple computer, I think you have to buy the spec'd up for, especially if you want to use a 4K editing machine. For HD, the lower spec cutting machine also will cut the video like butter, no issue at all, both the windows as well as this thing. But if you want to cut the 4K footage, especially if you are in H.264 format, which is a compressed format, the compressed format takes a lot of processing power required there. So if you're especially using an Apple system, unfortunate thing, you can't swap any of the systems inside. You can't change the CPU, can't change the GPU. It's a totally lockdown system. So when you're purchasing, you have to purchase the higher option available if you are serious about video editing. So my old MacBook Pro was struggling with the 4K footage with whatever specs, For HD cutting, it was not at all an issue. It just works like that. Even for 4K, the cutting part was okay. But when you want to do color correction, add color grading and effects and noise reduction, these are the places where it is really processor intensive and the computer slows down. So you want to do color correction, you want to do a noise reduction, effects, and that's the time it really takes a lot of your time. That was the reason I thought I should upgrade. But as far as the software part of it, the Final Cut Pro was doing X. I didn't have any issue with it at all. But the problem with the good thing about Final Cut Pro X, it is reliable, it's extremely stable, it doesn't crash at all. I've never had an issue unless and until you're really taxing the system a lot by using very high grade footage and you add a lot of color correction, noise reduction. That's the only reason when it can go wrong. Otherwise, it doesn't. It's very efficient, very fast, very intuitive use. The learning curve is not so steep here. And the Apple has the a great habit of customizing its hardware well for its software. The hardware are not really greatly spec'd, but they work well with whatever software they give. So that is one advantage. The only thing was the effects and other things not having. So I wanted to buy a new MacBook Pro for editing, but there are certain problems. In India, whatever availability is limited available. We don't have multiple options. Like what is available in the US, and we don't get the option of upgrading and customizing the hardware to make it a better editing machine. But these options are available in the US. But of course, it's expensive. But even if you can afford it, you just can't have it in India. And these lack of options is really frustrating majority of times. I just show you when we go to the
page, and this is the new
if you go to the India page and if you want to search in for the MacBook Pro, and you can see you just have these two options available. One is a 2 lakh option and there is a 2 lakh. This is a 16-inch MacBook Pro, the latest MacBook Pro. It's very good for video editing. And you have got these two options available here. The sad part of it is you have everything is locked in. You can't increase any of the thing which you want to. So you have an option of i7 processor with a 6 core in one thing, and another is an i9 processor which has got an 8 core. But you can't increase the memory of this. You can't increase the hard disk space. Again, you don't have an option of increasing your hard disk space available in India. And the memory part of it, as of now, it looks good. See, the problem with this is these Mac computers, they work well for almost 10 years. So when you're buying so much of a machine worth 2.5 lakhs, I would want it to it should not become redundant after maybe 5 years or so. I would have an option of upgrading the hard disk or a RAM, but this option is not available. Even if you want to pay more and customize it now, it's not available. But on the contrary,
again, we have these two combinations available. But the important thing is we have an option of upgrading.
So in the US, you have an option of upgrading your SSD when you're getting your system itself from 2 TB, and you can upgrade your memory and as well as your graphic card. The important thing is graphic card is going to be playing an important role in the future. Most of the editing softwares are now going to be trying to delegate some of the work to the GPU system, and
RAM as well as
you have an option of upgrading the GPU also in the US, but in India everything is locked down here. You can't ask anything at all. But that is and it's expensive. There's no doubt about it. But I would not have be shy of paying a little bit more money and having an option of upgrading these elements inside my system because in the long run it would, because the hardware they're built so well, they easily last for 10 years. But you don't have an option of upgrading the processor, nor you have an option of upgrading the GPU. But at least you can buy the latest which is now, or the maximum which you can now. So then you can use it for the next 10 years. Otherwise, what
Most
happens
important.
when you get an option, they upgrade every 2 years, and then your old system, you feel it is.
We have an option of upgrading to a better graph.
Now, quickly moving to another option, the iMac. iMac is a single desktop of Apple. I think it's an excellent option. Again, it has got everything inbuilt. You know, you have a processor, everything inbuilt, and best is with the screen is absolutely gorgeous. You can have the best 5K screen one can afford, and it is really calibrated for color. And you really, your color correction, everything will be spot on. Again, the problem here is in India we have a limited option. The whole problem is you can't have an option of upgrading even the hard disk here. See, you have an option of TB Fusion drive. Fusion drive is, you know, a very small component is your spinning the SSD, and the majority is your HDD. That's the spinning hard drive. And in this era, nobody uses an HDD because it really is the bottleneck of your system. You know, why the system gets slowed down because of the HDD. But in India, they don't give an option of an SSD at all, even if you want to pay more. The good thing about it is it has an option of up to 8 GB of your graphic cards. So the problem again is they don't give you everything in India, and that's the problem. So these are some of the reasons why I thought I will shift to Windows. And after doing a lot of research, I thought I would go to DaVinci Resolve 16. So initially, I just downloaded the free version, tried it out, and then I bought the studio version of it. But for this, I needed to build a PC. So I just share you my experience. And the biggest question is, what specs would you have? And in the era of internet, there is no girth of information. You just Google and find out. And luckily, there is a website called the Puget system, which gives you a guidance, like, you know, if you want to build a system for Premiere Pro, what are the requisitions available, specs requisitions, and what are the required specs for your Resolve. We need to understand certain key elements which are inside your computer, which is the CPU. Again, this is something the best you can afford at that part of your when you're buying. And GPU is again software specific. If you're using the Premiere Pro or even Filmora, I don't think GPU plays a very significant role there, but you need to find it out. Memory, I think you have to have 16 GB or more. Hard drive, I will again re-emphasize that SSDs are the way to go. And we have got multiple types of SSDs also. All SSDs are not same. So something called as NVMe. NVMe SSDs are the most fastest NVMe SSDs which you can get. And you need to have more than one drive when you're building a system PC. You need to have a couple of SSDs so that you can delegate different works for that. And compartmentalizing helps to speed up your system. You can have an option of HDD, just use it as a dumping thing. And based on your CPU and GPU, then you need to choose a suitable motherboard, cooling system, and a case. And of course, lastly, choose a licensed operating system so that you don't have an issue here. So this was a system which I was referring to, a recommended system by this company called as Puget. Just Google it out and you will find out what is the recommendations for this particular thing. So what did I do in Resolve? When you're using Resolve, I think the GPU becomes very critical. So you need to spend a little bit more money on the GPU, and it helps. So this is the PC which I built here, and sorry. So what do I have here? I have this is CPU. This has got the CPU I've used is an AMD Ryzen 9, and it has got 12 core. It is top of the line, and the GPU is 8 GB graphics card and 32 GB memory. And you can just make a note of it, and it's not necessary. You can also scale down or scale up, but this is what I used. And also I bought a new 4K monitor from BenQ, and I installed a Windows 10 Professional. It cost me around 2.4 lakhs for this. So what did I do? I've been using this machine for the last 2.5 months now, 2.5 months. And I thought it's a decent option for Windows users. So the whole problem is, you blame the Windows because we always are working in a system which is slow. So you blame the Windows operating system or your editing software. But again, you need to have a decently spec'd computer to ensure a free functioning of the software, because most of the video editing softwares, they're quite system intensive. You need to have a decent system to work on this. The biggest advantage of DaVinci Resolve, which I found, is it has got excellent color correction tools. It is better than FCP or any other software available. So this actually it is used by the Hollywood productions for color grading. So that is one thing. And another advantage of the studio version, there is a paid version, is you have an inbuilt noise correction. But again, when you want to use all these effects, your system has to be decently beefed up. And the important again advantage which I have found it with the Resolve compared to your Final Cut Pro, you got better render and sharing features. Like, you want to, when you completed an editing, you want to export the film, and you have an option. Usually you have to export in different resolutions. One will be a compressed version for YouTube, one will be a master version for you storing your original copy. So you would want to save in different resolutions. What this queuing does is you can order the computer to render all these 4 files and then go back to sleep, because rendering is going to take some time. So it can give you an option of doing it when you are not working on it. So that is a big advantage with Resolve. That option is not available with FCP or most softwares, because you can export the movie, single movie at a time, and once it's completed, then you again add another movie with this. So this is one advantage which I found. Compared to FCP, how does it compare as the editing experience goes in? So editing is all right, but you need to get used to it. There is a learning curve. It is because the interface, as Sourabh told, all the interfaces are going to have the same thing. You have a going to cut tool, you have to have a tool to trim it, you have a tool to detach the audio, attach the audio, and all those things. And minor variations will be there, but I found it to be less intuitive than using a Final Cut Pro. The biggest advantage of FCP is, its ease of use, and it's very intuitive. It has got this magnetic timeline, and you have the trackpad which is available with the Mac laptops. That is amazing. The way it is so helpful, makes things very faster. And you have when you cut it directly, it doesn't leave any gap in it. It goes and attaches to the next frame. It's very intuitive use and easy to learn. And again, a very good advantage is the titles to use it. You want to make arrow, show a point or anything. It's much more easier and seamless compared to Resolve. And a large number of third-party plugins are also available here. Now, again, Resolve, I have not been using a Windows system for quite some time. And when I changed to a Windows system, I still find that, I'm using an original Windows 10 Professional here, and using a paid version of DaVinci Resolve. But still, I find that the DaVinci Resolve stability is an issue, because every 15 days or month, it just hangs there. And after some time, again, it just goes out. But when you're spending so much money on your system and all those things, this is an experience which is not acceptable at all. This I never have with my Apple computers at all. And this happens with your studio version as well as the free version. I'm not sure about the whether other people are having, but when I searched the internet, there were a few complaints of this happening with most, including the Adobe Premiere Pro, where it's a very professional grade. Even there, people complain a lot of, the computer just stagnating and crashing. And it's more to do with the operating system. That is a Windows problem rather than the Resolve problem. Because the Resolve, same thing when you install in a Mac, it works reasonably well. I think maybe I have to reinstall or something, but this is one issue which I have found. It's not a big issue. Nothing is happens, just to go back and again install the program. Everything is fine. But at this level, when you're investing so much money and time, this is not acceptable. It has to be quite flawless. This is one small niggle which I found. Otherwise, nothing. Because Windows computer, they always give you bang for the buck. You are investing, you're putting so much money. It almost is the same specs wouldn't take almost double the price if you want to buy a Mac computer. But the price also, the user experience is very much enhanced. Now, there is a debate whether that is worth it or not. But this is the issue which I have faced here in this. Each one has a pros and cons. The advantage, as I told, with the MacBook, the operating system is very refined, very stable. You don't lose any data. Many times, in Windows, it just crashes off and you lose some of the editing or data which you've already done. This is never a thing. Most of the times, it's an autosave is available its autosave is inbuilt. Whether you're working with iMovie or Final Cut Pro, nothing goes wrong there. But the biggest hurdle with your Apple is upgrades are a problem. Availability and cost. So this is, they're extremely expensive. Availability is an issue. But again, so as the saying goes, nothing comes cheap. And Windows, again, it's a great value for money. And Resolve is an exceptional software for color grading. If you're really interested about, color grading and, you're making your footage look a little bit up, then there's no other software which can match it actually. But again, you need to have a system which matches its requirement. It's quite heavy on the GPU. And Windows operating system, I find it to be a little bit less refined, and stability issues are still there. That's what I feel. The biggest advantage of Windows PC, what I feel is, okay, I have invested I've built a custom made PC here, and I want to upgrade my hard disk. You can do that. You don't have to change the entire system. You can just buy an extra 2 TB SSD, put it inside. You want to add additional RAM. You buy another 32 GB of RAM and put inside. The system is going to 64 GB. And you want to change the processor, you can change the processor as well long as the motherboard is supporting. That is the biggest advantage of your Windows PC. There is no doubt about it. Value for money is phenomenal. Like, you can have the best of the CPU. If your motherboard is supporting, you can change the GPU, you can change your CPU. But the whole problem is the operating system is still not as refined. That is what is the thing. But again, this is you can't get everything. That's the whole problem. So my take after using the system for 3, I have been comfortable with the Resolve. There's no issue. It has got some advantages. But if given a choice, if you have somebody coming to you from US recently, get a customized MacBook Pro 16-inch from there. You can run Resolve there. You can run DaVinci Resolve also. You can run your app Final Cut Pro. You have got both of the best of both of the worlds. But try to get the maximum spec out. It's going to be expensive now, but usually, these computers last you for maybe 8 years, 10 years. So that is my option of suggestion after using all these things. We really envy those people. They got to have and we have to pay a lot of taxes here. Yeah, you got a lot of taxes here. You pay almost 60% tax on the machine itself here. Even in US, the Apple computer is significantly costlier than the Windows, definitely. But in India, though, it is too much. Literally, they skin you out here. Again, Resolve you can run on that machine also. So that is one advantage. The reason why I would want to buy additional GPU for your Apple MacBook also, because Resolve is GPU intensive. And furthermore, even Final Cut Pro also in the future is going to be more GPU intensive. They want to distribute the load so that the machine becomes much more faster. So I think with that, I'm going to conclude my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions here.
Yes. Thank you very much, Deepak. I think excellent presentation and in detail. So I think anyone who wants to buy a new system now, I think has got clear idea. I think I am also looking for someone coming from US now. So are there any other questions? So yeah, I think I think there is one question. DSLR based recording system, is it good for recording posterior segment surgeries? Yeah, they're in fact the best available if you are not going for a medical grade system. Any question for Dr. Deepak? OmniGlow gives better video with the standard hardware. I think Dr. Deepak, you have used OmniGlow. So does it change the way, video is, the quality of the video?
Of course, the secret for good video recording always is the red glow. See, whenever, as Sourabh was telling, when you have a black cataract, the video looks very messy. It doesn't look good. So the camera wants light. Basically the camera wants light. So you have white cataracts, it looks good. You have red glow, it looks good. So obviously, OmniGlow, when you attach, it is going to significantly increase your recording quality, immaterial of what camera you're going to use it. So it helps.
I think Dr. Vinay wants to ask about whether it is FCP is better than iMovie and how much better. So whether he should spend or not. That's, I think, the question.
I think, Dr. Vinay, I think I would like you to first master iMovie thoroughly. go into the internet, because almost most of the features what are available in FCP are available in iMovie. So you don't have to be as mad as me to invest so much in all the softwares and all those things. You don't have to be really mad at it. See, iMovie does most of the job, except, the customization of the titles. Like, you want to move the title from here and there. You want to do animation with the title. Those things are not available with iMovie. But I think if you can go to the YouTube and study a lot of tutorials on iMovie, they would give you some suggestions like how to make the most out of it. So my suggestion would be, before investing on FCP, try to get the maximum out of iMovie. So ensure that when you share your project from iMovie, share it to the highest possible resolution so that you maintain the clarity of the video, and try to learn all the tips and tricks. And then if you're still feeling there is something lacking, then I would suggest you to shift over to FCP. Because as far as I know, the primary difference would be the color correction tools are limited. Color correction in the sense, if you're always trying to change your contrast, change your brightness levels, these options are very limited here. The title options are limited because there is a set pattern of titles and you can't change much with it. Apart from these two things, I don't think there is much of a issue. If you are very much focused about getting these things, then you have to upgrade to FCP.
I think there are some questions about the camera settings and microscope. I think Dr. Deepak, we should address it in maybe next meeting, because in this meeting we are focusing on it is a different discussion altogether. Yeah. So we'll definitely plan another meeting on that front. So regarding also the settings of the camera, I think it's a whole different thing. I think we can start maybe preparing for that for the next meeting. And we will also include some users of different systems, because there are so many camera systems which are in place, also the microscopes and adapters. So maybe in the next meeting. So I think, should I go ahead with
I'd like to just one more question for you. For Filmora, I don't have experience with the Filmora. Okay. Yeah. So what system, what are the system, how have you built your system? What is your system configuration for Filmora which you're using?
Currently, I use Filmora on two computers. One is the desktop computer, which has almost same kind of configuration which you have now built for your Resolve. So I'm using that desktop for basically editing the 3D movies, which are much larger movies, video files, and also some 4K. And I use my regular laptop, which is I think i7 with it has a hard disk, simple hard disk. Now I have converted it to 1 TB SSD, and it has a very low, in fact, graphic card, maybe a 2 TB graphic card. So it's a slow system, but for HD editing, it works fine. It just takes more time for processing. Like once I put it on processing, exporting the movie, for 5 minutes movie, it takes around 10 to 15 minutes to completely process. While the desktop, which uses almost similar configuration as yours, it for 5 minutes it takes just 1 or 2 minutes to just finish off the processing. So apart from that, during the editing per se, because I use mostly HD videos for edit, unlike you, which where you are using mostly 4K, the regular configuration of i7 with SSD hard disk and the graphic card of 2 GB is enough for me to do most of the things.
So have you found a difference when you use your what format do you record in? You record in H.264 in the card, or you use an external recorder and record a ProRes?
For the 3D recordings, I am using ProRes.
Okay.
So that will be recorded in ProRes. While for the 2D, I am using, I'm recording it in the camera itself. So I use those Chinese cameras now. I also have DSLR. So in DSLR, I think I was using the MP4 format for recording. And for these, I think MP4, I think both are MP4 for the 2D recordings.
No, the reason why I'm asking you question is because the stress on the computer is going to be different in what format you are recording.
Yes, yes.
So I just wanted to know your experience, like, with the laptop, the H.264, does it work well, or no, it doesn't work well?
If I use the ProRes format, then laptop is not, it will take a very long time to render everything. So for that, I think the desktop configuration with 60 GB graphic card and higher RAM is, I use 16 GB graphic card, and I think 16 GB RAM as well. So I think that is needed for those ProRes videos to be quicker. Of course, if you have time, then it's okay.
Does Filmora have an option of editing 4K videos and exporting also 4K videos?
No, at present it doesn't have. So I use the DaVinci Resolve for the 4K. I think DaVinci Resolve has the 4K option.
Yeah, it has. The free version also has it.
Yeah. So
but Filmora doesn't have. Filmora doesn't have.
The issue with 4K is at present is that I cannot show it anywhere. So that's the main issue. But for 3D videos, I have kept it in 4K also. So maybe in future when it comes, because even with 3D projector, only the HD videos I can at present. Okay, so okay, can I go to my, just it's a brief presentation. So I will finish off in my maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then we can take further questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so can you see the presentation now? Is the presentation visible?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I will go ahead. So my last presentation is how to do live streaming. So to start live streaming, first of all, you should have a YouTube channel with minimum 150 subscribers, which are easy to find in India, definitely. So once you have that, you can start the YouTube live streaming option on your YouTube settings. Now for live streaming, you need these 4 components, which are essential. First thing is video camera. So you should have a surgical video recording camera, and there should be external or internal. External means which is not inside a computer, and internal is which is inside a computer. So you need either of these recorders, and then you should have a PC. Of course, there are some recorders which can stream directly, but that is not what I have used. Maybe it requires a little bit of more knowledge. And then you can buy any streaming software. There are free versions also available, but if you want a good one, you can buy a streaming software. I will show what I am using. And you should have very good internet speed, which is must. So at least 10 Mbps upload speed. Upload speed is very important because many internet connections have good download speed, but upload speed is less. So you have to talk with your internet provider and service provider and get the good upload speed. So in the external recorders, these are the different external recorders which are available. Initially, I was using the Evermedia, which gives good output. But after speaking with Dr. Deepak, in fact, I went for Ninja Inferno, and it has a very good resolution, as Dr. Deepak was mentioning about ProRes. So you can record also well, and it also gives a good output also. So I can use it for live streaming. Of course, I haven't configured it for live streaming, so I need an internal recorder. So for internal recorder inside a PC, I have 2 options. One is Evermedia, and another is Elgato. So at present, I'm using this Elgato 4K. So it is built for 4K streaming, but of course, because of the internet speed, I'm not trying to do 4K because it lags a little bit. But you can beautifully do HD live streaming with this Elgato card. Of course, you should consider all the specifications which are needed for the desktop to have this card inside. And I think someone asked about the audio recording also. So you can use, there are different external mics which you can use, which I liked. I tried a couple of these, and which I liked really was this Rode Wireless Go mic. It is wireless, so it is connected by, you can have a recorder in with on your sleeve, and then the second transfer, the receiver is attached to the desktop. So you can speak and then it records, and it also has some noise correction function also. So it cancels the noise. So gives beautiful recording. And also live streaming also, you can record your voice while live streaming. So there are certain softwares which are encoders, which are recommended by YouTube for doing this live streaming. Some of these are even free of charge. Of course, free of charge means you are allowed to use only lower resolution, and also there is sometimes a limit on the time till which you can do the this live streaming. So I asked Dr. Lukan Mishev from Bulgaria. He is excellent surgeon, and he does all his surgeries are live streamed in 4K format, so which was excellent. So what I did is that according as per his suggestion, I used this vMix. I purchased this vMix online software, and as you can see, for HD live streaming, which is more than enough for us, it's just $60 and subscription fee, and which is quite reasonable, and you can get a good high definition resolution output. Only thing is that it has just one overlay channel, so you can stream only one camera at a time, and for getting higher you may have to pay more. So this is the YouTube channel that you have to start, on which you can live stream. Of course, you can use Facebook also, and there are other platforms also where you can do live streaming depending on to whom you want to live stream your surgeries. And once you go to this YouTube studio and you have this, you go to this live dashboard, you will find this encoder setup which is there. So you have to use this URL key and this URL this thing key and its key. That's my stream name. You have to copy it, and then when you open your vMix software on the desktop from which you want to do the live stream, it comes with this kind of screen where you can add different inputs. So here I added one input of a video, which may be a recorded video or it can be from the Elgato. So if you are using a inbuilt recorder, you can directly connect it to the computer and you can use it to live stream. So once that input comes, you have to merge the two inputs. Also, I will show you that you can also create an overlay. One moment. Yeah. So now in this, on the streaming, if you have seen, there is a stream. So you go to the settings, and in the settings, you add this URL in the custom RTMP, and you add your key. So once you add your key and save, your system is ready for live streaming. You can also create your overlay. So for overlay, there is a option of creating an overlay using its designer. So it has an inbuilt designer. So you go to this GT designer, and just as you create a PowerPoint slide or something, you can add the words you want to add, and all the text which you are adding, you can also change later on when you are live streaming. So you can in fact change whatever you want during live streaming. You can also add your logo. You can select the transparency, whatever you want to have. So all these things can be added, whatever, as per your creativity. And now you want, there is another option of okay. So another option of live streaming is that sometimes it is difficult when you are operating to live stream and then add your voice also. Then what you can do is you can record those videos, and then those videos can be played. And as they are played, then you can also start your mic. So you can add a audio microphone also in the input. So once you start, talking about that video as it is going, the same way it will be live stream on your YouTube channel or on Facebook. So that can also be used. So this is just a little bit brief about the live streaming. Okay, and over to you, Deepak. So if there are any other questions, we'll take those. Okay,
I
Deepak.
think that was excellent insight into giving us use this streaming. And I think using a mic on the camera really cancels off a lot of noise. I don't have it, so I have a real problem of recording voice there, so I need to think about it.
Yeah, I
Because
think this.
the air blow, the laminar flow noise will be there. No, that will be there. That will be captured by the camera more often.
Yeah.
Where do you keep the mic? The receiver is at the near your computer, is it?
Yeah, so it is directly attached to the computer
And it is
through the
recording
same
there.
3.5 mm jack.
Okay.
And the recorder or the transmitter is there. You can wear it on your cuff or something like that, on your collar.
Okay. Like any other lavalier mic.
Yes. There are cheaper versions also available. I think it gives fairly good, but I like this Rode because it also corrects the noise also. So that's very good.
That is the most important thing. Any other questions here now?
Dr. Vinay Garodia has asked option of importing lighter version of the original video, do the editing on lighter video. So I think Dr. Vinay wants to ask about the proxy settings. So
yeah, I just messaged in. You have an option of using the proxy settings.
Yes.
You can't import the lighter version directly. You have to convert the file into proxy files and then edit. And then when you're exporting again, choose the appropriate resolution and then export.
Yes. I think Dr. Subodh wants to ask the best configuration for Windows laptop for 4K recording and editing. I think again it's better to consult hardware because I am not expert. So I generally buy whatever the best is available. So I generally do not know. But what I have bought is a 16 GB RAM graphic card and 16 GB RAM, along with 1 TB SSD for my desktop, and with the latest core for the processor. So that's what I have purchased. But I think there will be something optimized versions also which are available.
Again, I think, here I would want to again add what software is planning to use. Then you can customize the machine.
Yeah, I think
again, the debate would be whether to use a laptop or a desktop. For 4K editing in a Windows laptop, it's going to be really tough, taxing. I think it is going to be again expensive. You can have a cheaper version of tablet for the laptop for your HD video editing. Really interested in 4K, I think invest in a desktop computer because that gives you more value for money, and choose the best you can afford there.
Yeah. I think all the softwares which are they have in their technical specification minimum that is required for their.
But what they do know, they really are underspec there. They give the bare minimum. If you go over that, the computer will never function only. I've had my experience with that. Because you have to really develop what is their basic requirement for really, have a smooth experience. That's
a good point. I will just launch one more poll, which is the last feedback poll. And of course, you can continue to ask questions. And just in the meanwhile, you can just give your opinions. So I think thanks a lot, Dr. Deepak, for so many insights into the hardware and the software. I'm sure we all will try to, try to find out more about this Final Cut Pro as well as the Resolve after you have given us those insights. And I'm sure that those other 50% who are not recording their surgeries may start recording. And so most of them have voted. So let me share the results. So good that all of you have benefited from presentation. We are very happy to hear that. And for the next meeting, I think they would like to more about, I think, cameras and adapters. So I think, Dr. Deepak, we have to plan something. And of course, those are, I think, much varied topics because there are so many cameras, adapters, and other things. So definitely we can have more experts on this, and then we can hold meetings, and others want to also voice over animation, software and hardware for it. Thank you very much. So I think let's conclude the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope it was useful. thanks a lot to Dr. Deepak. I think he has really shown us the way to go ahead, because I think he's always one step ahead if you consider the video editing or the hardware or software part is concerned. So we can always follow him. And I hope my presentations were also useful for you. And I hope that when you make your next video, I think do share with me also if my presentation has been useful to you. So thank you very much, and see you for when the next meeting is announced. Thank you, Deepak.
Thanks. Bye.
Enjoy the Sunday, everyone.
Bye. It's always Sunday now, yeah.
That is true. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So I'll be ending the meeting now. Just one question, I think Dr. Bhushan sir, he wants to ask if it is good to record an internal SD. Usually internal SD card is quite good for recording. What Deepak meant is that sometimes it can get correct, so you have a backup on external recorder. That's the only thing. In fact, internal SD gives the best quality recording as far as I've seen. Okay, thank you so much. See you. Bye-bye.